Hello creative friends, this is Joy. I just wanted to show you this little journal that I made last weekend. I actually did end up taking it apart and redoing it because I didn't like that I had two really fat signatures in here, and it just didn't lay right when I was, like trying to do stuff in here, and it was just too bulky. So what I did was I took it all apart and I separated the two sets of pages into 4 sets and then re-sewed them in there. I don't think you can see it, but I did end up splitting the two fat sets of pages into 4. And my ribbons, I loved all these ribbons I added, but with 2 sets of these, which was basically like 1, 2, it was really bulky in between, the page. So I also separated my ribbons out so that they weren't so bulky. And now I have 4 sets of ribbons. So I put a set of ribbons on each of the 4 sets of pages. And I reattached them the same way I did before. I just took some wire and wrapped it around all of the ribbons at the top. And then the 2 strings of boho beads that I added before, I added those back on, and I added them to the 2 middle ribbons the same way I did before. And I tied this around all the ribbons to kind of hold them all together. And the only other thing I did was the elastic before was going over the top of the ribbons when I would close it, and I didn't like that, and so I took it off and I made it so it would go underneath the ribbons, so when I closed it, it wasn't going across the top of them. And I added this on the front. This is just some modeling paste with some acrylic paint, some red acrylic paint that I put on here through a stencil. That's all I've done so far to decorate the front of it, is just to add that little heart. I may add more to the front. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, because whatever I put on the front, it's going to have to be permanent, since this elastic's going to be getting pulled on and off multiple times. If it's not something that's permanently adhered, then it's going to just get knocked off. So I don't know. I'm still pondering that. I mean, I like it like it is for now. I may end up, like I said, changing it up and doing something different. And I did do a few pages in here. I really like this little journal. I mean, it makes it so easy to just quickly spend not even 10 minutes just to do a page. Here's one of the canvas pages that I put in here, and if you watch the video showing how I made this journal, I was going to do gesso on these canvas pages, but decided not to, and I'm glad I did, because I really like the raw canvas. I think it's kind of pretty, I just like that, than better than if I would have gessoed it. If you didn't see the video on me making this little journal, I'll put a link to that so that you can watch that. So on this page, basically, all I did was did some black StazOn ink through a stencil, and this here is a silhouette through a stencil as well, and it kind of turned out light, so I went around it with a blue Posca pen and then did like a border around the page with a blue Posca pen. But yeah, just really quick and simple. And then here's a couple more pages where I just used some things from an ephemera pack that I had. So this I stapled onto the canvas, and you can barely see the staples on the other side, but I stapled it. I added a little butterfly sticker, a little quote from my Chit Chat stickers from Tim Holtz, added like a border. This here is music page paper, so I colored that with a little blue, added again this little flower and butterfly and stamp, and then a couple stickers for a little quote on there. This one here, I colored it purple, and then actually these were cut out from some pattern paper, red pattern paper. I don't know if you can see that. And so I put circles on here, and then these other circles I kind of drew on there with Posca pens, and then scribbled around them, and then added this quote that I found in my stash. And I did this to kind of sort of go with this page, and then I went around these circles on this page with the Posca pen. I colored a book page, cut out this heart, went around it with the black Posca pen. This here is a piece of washi tape, and with the other little tiny strips of washi tape, a quote, and then I wrote on here, Faith. So real quick little page. Here I just found this tag, real quick and simple. I like the tag. I put it on here. I added a little string to it. I didn't think it really needed much else to this page. And then added Journey. And then on this page I stamped an image and stamped some words. And this page was, you know, one of them that was already... Actually, no, I take that back. This is a page that I colored. I did go through this journal and added, like, this was a jelly printed page, but this other side was not. So some of these pages, and this was not, but this was jelly printed. So some of these pages I went through and I just took and scraped paint on them, and then through a stencil with a sponge dauber, put like a different colors. So that's what some of these pages are. I wanted to color more of these pages, and here is one where I just put yellow and then had a little, actually I had it here. It was a dauber, but the dauber finally gave out. I mean, I wash and reuse as much as I can, but this one finally got to the point where I couldn't use anymore, and I just used it to, actually I used that side to add the green dots. And then, of course, that's the jelly printed side. So, and then here's one, I just added blue paint, and then through a stencil added a darker blue, and that's the jelly printed side. So I went through on some of these pages too, and for the plain side of the ones that were jelly printed, I tried to do some kind of, you know, paint and design, you know, with paint and stencils. Here's another one. And this was pattern paper that was jelly printed. This I just scraped paint on. I guess I didn't do much with that. And then this is a piece of deli paper, and that is a tea bag. And then over here, let's see, I did the same over here, scraped paint, paint and stencil, paint and stencil, paint and stencil. So I did the same on this side, paint and this dauber thing. Same thing here, paint and that the dauber, and then that's paint and stencil. So that's what I've done so far in the journal. And yeah, I just decided, you know, some of these pages to go ahead and, you know, throw something on them, so when I get to them, you know, they'll be ready to go. I only did it to the first set of pages. I didn't do it to every page, and I didn't do it to the second set. You'll see the second set of pages still, the back sides of these jelly printed pages are still plain, and I'll eventually add something to them too. But anyway, so that's what I've done so far in this little journal. I thank you for stopping by and watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.